Welcome back to Mornings with Jaresha, and good day to you all. Good day, good day. So, I have to say this before I jump into what I'm going to share with you today. I have been very intentional about my wake up time, okay, and the time I'm going to bed at night. And at this point, it has really become a part of who I am. And so sometimes at 3 a.m., and even 2 a.m., I am up, and not because I set my alarm for that time, but because that is when my internal clock wakes me up. Yes, it I have woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, at 3 o'clock, and literally found myself like, what is happening? Now, normally I have a 4 a.m. time when I am waking up, but here lately, it has been 2:30, 3 a.m. that I'm getting up. And and so I have really conditioned myself to get out of the bed instead of waiting for my alarm to go off or hitting the snooze or whatever that is. And normally my alarm goes off at 4, but when I tell you that I'm up, I'm always up before 4. And as a matter of fact, I tried that early on. So saying that I'm gonna go back to sleep, and every time that I said that I was gonna go back to sleep, it really didn't work out that way. And this is when I first started my journey of waking up early. And so, I thought that, okay, well, I'm gonna just, if I wake up at 2 o'clock, if I wake up at 3, I'm gonna go back to sleep. At least I'm gonna try to. That's what I told myself. However, that didn't work, and I literally wasted my time. I wasted my time trying to go back to sleep. I literally could have spent that time on meditating, prayer, devotion, just anything that's a part of my morning routine instead of trying to go back to sleep. And so I really just get fascinated with how powerful our minds are. And even with something such as waking up and going to bed. So I have it set in my mind that I know I have stuff that I'm working on that requires, okay, it's a requirement for me, but it may not be a requirement for you, but it's a requirement for me. And so I know I have to get up and rise early. Because of that reason, it is really embedded into my mind and my behaviors, my sleep pattern, and my body is all aligned and connected with my goals, dreams, and purpose. And so at night, when it's time to rest, and I will tell you that I have the best sleep. I love my sleep, y'all. I absolutely love my sleep. And since I made the decision to stop fighting the greatness that is already inside of me and start being intentional on how I can align my mind, my body, because I believe we fight against what is already within us. And it's only when we get aligned with it that we can actually see the power. So that is not even what I wanted to share today, but it was one of those moments that you just have those moments when you really just feel like it can empower somebody. And so I hope that that may empower you as you're stepping into your greatness and really beginning to align with your goals, your dreams, and your purpose. And it has to be a complete alignment with your mind, with your body. Like everything has to be aligned. And so I was thinking about that even as I get up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and not fighting that because I'm up. And so God woke me up for a reason. And so because of that internal clock that we have, I'm up, and let me just tell you, I'm not going to lay in bed and figure out why I'm up and trying to go back to sleep and hop on social media or turn on the TV. No, I am up, and I'm like, okay, it's time for me to start my day. Let's get it. Let's go. So again, that was not what I wanted to share with you today. But I had to mention it. I had to mention it because it's those moments that I feel like we really have to go there to empower someone. But actually, I think it's somewhat related. So now that I think about it, so now that I really think about it, what I'm going to share with you, it is kind of related, and we're just gonna jump right into it. So I recently seen an article where this gentleman, and let me just say that the title of the article is actually titled Almost 3 Decades Ago, I wrote a check to myself for $1 million when I had nothing. And here's why. Now, that is the complete title of the article. Now, the article talks about just how he talks about how he didn't have money, and that moment of desperation, he needed something to really work towards. So he wrote himself a check. He wrote a check to himself. And he gives this backstory as far as how he was in a bad place and how he had lost his father unexpectedly, and he was poor and struggling and working full time and trying to go to school full time, and he felt drained, embarrassed, and he was literally just going through all kinds of storms. And I feel like we all can relate to, this of going through storms, going through challenges, obstacles, just everything that's going on in our life right now. And I know you can relate as well. So we're all going through something. And he made a decision by looking at his circumstances. So he took a look at his circumstances, and he did not allow himself to really be taken under by it, but he wanted to rise above it. And so the way that he did that was he said, I'm going to write myself a check for $1 million, for $1 million. And he said that he would cash it in 3 years, 3 years after he graduated. Now, and I guess during that time he graduated, and I guess prior to that, or during that time, I should say, he launched I believe it was one of several successful companies that he actually built and sold that value, guess what, well over $1 million. So he never even cashed a check. But he said that it taught him a really important lesson, because he said that he kept the check as a reminder of no matter what or how tough things can get, you are going to keep pushing forward. So you're going to get through it. And I thought this is such a powerful story of overcoming, of being intentional, of understanding your greatness and executing on your goals, your dreams, and your purpose in the midst of complete chaos, right? In the midst of chaos, when everything is working against you, you just feel like your back is against the wall, you can still push forward. So this story to me is a story of hope. It's a story of determination, and it's powerful and significant because it recognizes who he is. Like, he knew who he was. He was in this temporary situation, and he wanted more. He was self-aware. And although he had that moment of sadness where, he just was crying his eyes out, and all of that is what the story actually, the article mentioned, his circumstance, it wasn't a matter of self-pity. He recognized where he was, and he knew that he was living a life that he was unhappy with. And he felt emotionally and physically drained and wanted more. He knew there was more to where he wanted to go. And so for him, it meant that he was going to use writing a check to himself to motivate him, to push him to keep working hard, to push him to keep working on his goals, his dreams. He had to honor that promise to himself that I'm going to write this check out for $1 million. And guess what? At that day and at that time that he put on that check, he knew that he was going to be able to accomplish everything that he set his mind to do. So he gave himself permission to do something different that may not make sense to other people, but he knew that by taking that action, it would give him something to fight for, something to strive for. He had a choice. We all have choices. And he could have settled for his present or current situation. But instead, he said, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. What can I do to make it better? So my question for you is, what can you do to make your current situation better? What is it that you're working towards? And how do you plan to get there? So I love this idea of writing yourself a check for $1 million, because it's going to push you out of your comfort zone and into goal mode. We all need to be in goal mode, right? We want to be outside of that comfort zone and in go mode and stretching ourselves and grow mode too. So not just go mode, but grow mode. And so yesterday I was having a conversation. So my daughter and I, we were in the car and we were talking about the comfort zone, right? And how when you have stepped outside of that comfort zone, because it's uncomfortable. It doesn't necessarily feel good right at the moment, because who likes to be uncomfortable? Like, none of us like to be uncomfortable. There are emotions attached to being outside of it. We may have emotions such as fear and feeling nervous and all of that. And that's perfectly fine. That's not designed to make you go back crawling to your comfort zone and staying in your comfort zone. It is designed so that you keep pushing forward. Again, we don't like to feel nervous or fear or anxiety. We don't like all of those feelings and those emotions that are attached to it, but we have to keep pushing forward, because like I told my daughter, I said, those are growing pains. And although we don't want to see it as that, those kind of pains, those growing pains are good pains. I know it sounds weird, but it's all about that developing process. So how are you going to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and really launch into go mode? If writing a check to yourself is going to produce the action, the drive, and really that execution mode required to get you to that next level, then do what you need to do. Pull out that checkbook and get to writing. And the funny thing is that many of us don't even use checks like that anymore. But you get my point. Whatever it takes, whatever you need to do in order for you to look at your current situation and say, you know what? This is not enough. This is not enough for me. I deserve more. What can I be doing in order for me to keep pushing forward? So when you feel like you have nothing and you feel stuck, what is going to launch you into go mode and also into keep going mode? We throw these pity parties for ourselves, and then we send out all these invitations to people like, come and join my pity party, come over here and let's, have all this negative narrative, and let's sit in self-doubt, and let's talk about all these limiting beliefs and how we can't do this and we can't do that. And, oh, woe is me and all of that. No, we have to stop doing that and really focus on how we can make our current situation better. How can we develop our mindset, be more intentional, and make the shift that we need? What goal or dream are you wanting to accomplish and fulfill that requires you to make a big move like this? That guy made a big move when he said, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. I'm going to dry my tears off. I'm going to get up. I'm going to write this check to myself because I know I deserve more. And guess what? Each and every day, that check is a reminder that I need to keep pushing forward, that I need to keep working hard. Yes, we know that as you're working, it's going to be hard. No one said it's going to be easy. But that is your ammunition to keep pushing forward, to keep growing, to keep moving. Again, what goal or dream are you wanting to accomplish and fulfill that requires you to make a big move like this? Like I always say, I hope you're ready, because it's time to execute. It may be time for you to write yourself that $1 million check and get to work on manifesting your goals, your dreams, and walking into your purpose, because it's time to go into go mode. It's time to go into go mode like your life depends on it, because it does. Don't let another day go by. Don't let another day, another month, another year, don't let this day go by where you're wallowing in self-pity and replaying the why me and woe narrative over and over and over again like it's a broken record. It is time to do something different. It is time for you to get up and do something different for yourself. Look at your current situation. Recognize who you are, where you're wanting to go, and then move in the direction that you're wanting to go. I hope you're ready because it's time to execute today. It's time. It's time. So let's get it. Let's go.